Okay, as you can see, I'm in a wholly new location. Well, okay, maybe not wholly new because this is indeed another part of my house, but usually you're accustomed to seeing me upstairs near the glass doors that face the backyard. I'm downstairs in the spare room. And the reason why is just simply because my son is currently sleeping upstairs, and also my wife is doing other things as well. And I just wanted to make certain I wasn't bothering anyone. So anyway, you get to check out some of the DVDs up above. Not that you could really see most of them from this vantage point, but well, there it is. Anyway, I did say I was going to do another book review, but at this point, I decided to put that one on hold just because, well, for lack of better terms, I haven't had the time to read that book of poems yet. Let's just say the semester's underway now, and there's a lot of paper gray and whatnot, so but I will get to it eventually. But anyway, I do have some new poems that I wanted to share with you. Now, this first one is called Sprouting Gills. And within this poem, there was at least two main influences that I do want to note. Now, the first one is based off of Pearl Jam's Vitology, an album that came out back in 1994. There was a song on that album entitled Nothing Man. And there was one part that, if memory serves me correct, it goes, caught a bolt of lightning, cursed the day he ever let it go. And I've always been very arrested by that set of lines by Eddie Vedder. And I was playing off of that somewhat at the very beginning of this. And also towards the end, the second influence, so to speak, that comes into this is from Cheryl Stray's Wild, a memoir of her hike of the Pacific Crest Trail. Even though if you've read the memoir at all, you could tell that it really isn't about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail per se, or at the very least, it seems like it is more like a backdrop to a lot of the other issues that she wants to discuss. Which, I mean, neither here or there. I mean, I've done that before in creative work. Of course, that's a work of nonfiction, but nonetheless, so I'm not faulting her for that at all. In fact, there was one of the section titles. It was titled "Box of Rain," and I was like, "Wow, that is really interesting in terms of a metaphor." And I riff off of that as well as I get into this poem. Now, this poem is only 9 lines long. Well, and my other note on that, I'll let you know once I read through it. It's called Sprouting Gills. I caught a hitch of lightning, sent it back into the sky. My hands are less charged now, but so is my life. How can memories persist in a singed moment? I failed to observe the blue behind your shadows. Now I'm left with a coffin of rain. I can't lie still in water. Yeah, so basically, what I was going to go on about before reading the poem was this one famous quote or quotation from T.S. Eliot, even though I imagine others have said something similar to this effect. But basically, using T.S. Eliot's quotation, he said, immature poets imitate, mature poets steal. Now, when you think of the term steal, I'm not necessarily meaning you go and just take something unaltered and just call it your own. No, I mean where I think T.S. Eliot was coming from though with that quotation was that as a poet matures, you use your influences. You use the people who have guided you in the writing process. But what you do is you take, some element of what they were doing, and then you find a way to twist it, change it, if you will, and then make it your own. And that is basically what I was attempting to do in Sprout and Gills. So now this next poem is called Meridian, Fissure. And the meridian part, I'm definitely reminded of Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian in particular. And he too also brings up that notion of how, well, he puts it a little bit differently, but basically it's a similar sentiment where he said, look, the ugly truth of novel writing is all novels come from what has been written before, or from novels before. And I think with Blood Meridian, one of the novels that inspired Cormac McCarthy to write that novel was Moby Dick by Herman Melville. So, but that's a novel, well, both of them, but Blood Meridian in particular is a novel that I guess captivate is not the right term, but nonetheless, it is something that has haunted me. Nonetheless, ever since I first read it back when I was in grad school years and years ago. For anyone who has read it, it is quite the experience to get through that novel. And I will say that, well, I mean, there are some people who would say that their experience of literature has helped them in their lives in some form or fashion. I'm not certain if I could really pinpoint how that novel has helped me in my life per se. Well, if nothing else, I guess it's given me like a foil, basically how not to live life, so to speak. Even though even that is probably reducing things way too much when it comes to that novel. But anyway, I was playing off of this notion of a demarcation, and I'll read the poem, and I'll let you decide for yourself what the poem means. A constellation of blue stars every night. Don't believe me? I'm not asking for your faith. Nightshade capable of killing even the most robust of skies. No, my inner worlds are inhabited by lights pressed into recesses dingy and raw. Can you handle horizons met with hands aching for the tangible grasp of love's audible capillaries? I don't need another set of arms unwilling to wrap the circumference of my depression. Life is a weight between extinction and consciousness. Don't you believe me when I say my space is the shade of navy, and I fight to see other colors nightly? Am I too much for you? My universe, though insular, can allow for other dimensions. Will you take the time to enter me swimmingly, or will you just pass through like everyone else? All right, and this final poem is more whimsical in nature and lighthearted, basically. It's entitled My New Wings. The window of my hands blocks the sun. My lover is in bed, stardust on her face. The moon has risen, and my questions have fallen to the floor. Weightless feathers I no longer need to grasp. Words emerge from the constellations of your mouth. I take in their light, take in their pulsating energy. I fill the void with my words, sounds that shape their own entropy. The conversation, playful, nothing awry or awkward. I wish all our nights were filled with galaxies. Now that last poem that I read, initially it was longer, but I felt that final couplet with I wish all our nights were full of galaxies. I felt it was like a natural end, or at very least it felt like that's where the poem should end. Of course, I could be wrong on this too, and who knows, maybe a few months from now, this poem will completely morph into something different, which is the beauty of the creative process. Anyway, I hope everyone is doing well, and I'll try to post another video before long. Anyway, take care.